Now in our weekly update with Marianne Meed as the Burlington mayor explains how the city is working to reopen the Burlington Canal Pier.
We are hoping to get this open sometime early 2025, and it has been quite a journey. The federal government owns the piers. They are called working piers because ships go by them. There's no barriers along the railings, so you're kind of at your own risk. There were trip hazards. They closed it in 2021 due to liability. We have been working since then to get it open. The Hamilton Oshawa Port Authority, or HOPA, assumed ownership or carriage stewardship of the surface parts. There's also two different federal ministries involved. So it was rather complicated. Also two cities, so City of Hamilton and City of Burlington, we both have the municipal boundaries right down the middle of the canal, the shipping canal. And then the region of Halton, this is part of the regional waterfront park. So they're a party. So I convened a working group, if you will, of all of those people to get this done. And then staff have kind of taken it from there for a couple of years. But we're hoping to put the final touches on an agreement with all of those different parties and get it back open to public access.
That is a lot of organization / people to get into the same room, or
Yep.
at least coordinate sort of kind of in the same place. Now that we are able to do this, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, a lot of parties all having their own agendas. So kudos if you
Yeah.
can make that happen.
Yeah, and I think the goal, everyone agreed on the outcome pretty much. The federal government wanted to make sure that if it was reopened, it was safe for public access. Of course, that's fair. But that was the starting point. This is about giving the public back what they've always enjoyed, which is the ability to walk out on those piers. So once we kind of agreed that was our goal, then it just takes some time to see it through.
All right, next topic. Burlington City Council has approved the short-term accommodation bylaw. Now, this is designed to put new rules around Airbnbs, VRBO-style properties. Pretty restrictive here. What rules are in place?
There's a licensing fee for $300, which actually we heard from a provider saying it was too low. They'd be happy to have it higher, which is, we hardly ever hear that. But we kept it at $300. It has to be your principal residence. And this is really to protect long-term housing stock. We don't want people buying up whole neighborhoods, as has happened in some particularly rural or cottage country type places. They buy up a whole block of houses and then it's all short-term rentals. So you don't have residents that live there. So it has to be your principal residence, and the limit of 183 days. So about, half the calendar year, a little bit more than half. And the rest of the time you can't rent it out. So this is to protect housing stock. And if people want to rent it out for longer, then enter into a long-term lease. So we're trying to balance the needs of people for short-term rentals with protecting the long-term supply of housing, but also bringing in a code of conduct for operators. They have to make sure that there's fire and safety and all of those regulations. So health and safety is looked after. So we're trying to make sure that some of the abuses of the system, turning them into party houses, doesn't happen, and that these things are safe. So there are some restrictions on the number of people that can be in one of these places. It's based on the number of bedrooms and so forth. So very similar to what other municipalities have brought in. So we've learned from some of their bylaws.
All right, good stuff. And finally, a nice topic to end here. The city is looking for Indigenous artists to create a mural at Mountainside Recreation Center. So tell me a little bit about this. Where is it going to be placed and why is this happening?
The mural is along the pool. It'll be very visible for folks. We wanted to focus on Indigenous artwork, and so the application is till the end of January. You still got time to get a submission in. So if you know people that are talented and Indigenous, we're trying to foster certainly local talent. So make sure that you get that in. And we're on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit and many First Nations here. We want to honor and acknowledge that. And Mountainside, of course, is near a creek, and water is very important. There's a pool there. So there's a lot of tie-ins to the Indigenous history and heritage of this area.